Hello, welcome to the fourth and final day of FABTECH. This is Dan Davis with fogged up sunglasses, reporting live from the FMA, the Fabricator booth here at FABTECH. Joining me today are other bespeckled panel members. Why are we wearing sunglasses? It's not a CDC recommendation to protect ourselves from the coronavirus. It's a promotion of the FMA annual meeting, March 1st through 3rd, I think, in Miami. Go there and you pick up awesome glasses like this. So, joining me today.
Only available there.
Yeah, there you go. And you might get lucky and become the keynote speaker just by putting on the right pair of glasses with the golden ticket.
I'll see you there.
So we got Amanda Carlson, editor of the Welder magazine, Eric Lundin, editor of the Tube and Pipe Journal, and Josh Welton, owner of Brown Dog Welding, welder extraordinaire, digital marketer extraordinaire, fashion icon, I think.
Fashionista.
So we're using this time today, and we'll have another Facebook Live event at 2 o'clock. But right now, we're going to speak about what we've seen at FABTECH, technology, trends, maybe even some discussion of people there, because I think that the show is turning out to be a pretty important one for the industry, kind of getting back in the swing of things. So Amanda, I'll let you start. What are some of the things that kind of caught your eye on the show floor this week?
A lot of automation. I think that was a big trend in a lot of the booths. The feedback that I was getting was, in terms of cobots, just trying to create a product that is easy to integrate, easy to learn, easy for welders to use, and that can do all the monotonous work and take the welders, skilled welders, and put them on more complex jobs.
Right.
So that was a big trend that I saw in some of the booths that I visited, for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting conversations I've had with a fabricator was one who actually had one in his shop and kind of played around with it a little bit, but wasn't quite sure what to do with it, so he gave it back.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of talking about, well, maybe he'll kind of bring it in again, and he's thinking of a situation where maybe, he can use that, someone can use that who's less skilled to maybe do some tack welds and then kind of send it over to his welding department. And that kind of strikes me as where, the automation technology is almost a little bit ahead of where the fabricators think they might need it.
Right.
So, Eric, anything from your standpoint?
Well, interesting you should mention that. I did visit J&D Tube Benders a while back, and they had integrated a cobot. I think it was doing a machine tending operation. And after watching it run for about 5 minutes, the owner decided he needed a second one. So
Yeah.
he was sold on that right away. One of the things I did see also, to Amanda's point, is a cobot's mounted on a cart with casters. So the cobot doesn't have to be set up just to do one thing. It can do several things throughout the day because they're very easy to adapt to new jobs. They're extremely versatile in that way. And so by setting on a cart, you can move around the shop and go to different places and do different things throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you're talking about, we had talked earlier, programming on some of these things.
Yeah.
You had visited, I won't say it's a buzz, but a lot of people have been talking about the Path Robotics folks. And
really trying to get rid of the programming. So in a lot of cases with the cobot, it's merely a matter of taking the end of arm tooling and just guiding it to where it needs to be so it learns a path to do something. Especially in welding, but I think that applies also in other areas like machine tending. But the one at Path Robotics, though, is really interesting because that is what they have is a setup where you'd have an assembly of pieces, and you start out with a CAD model, and you use drop-down menus and things like that, and selection boxes to create the weld path. It's not programming. And then you put the assembly in the welding booth. So now you've got a 3D CAD model, essentially, of what the robot is supposed to do. And you've got the assembly there, and it uses an optical scanner. Now it knows the location of the assembly. You don't have to set the assembly in the exact spot. It doesn't have to be centered on a datum point or anything like that. You just put it in the booth, an optical scanner finds where the assembly is, and now the robot can do its thing and do all the welding.
Yeah, the vision technologies out there are kind of.
So it's almost like it's almost reading the terrain. You put it in a specified area and it can hone in on what it needs to do.
Right. Now, they never really said whether maybe you can set up with a conveyor, so you get one to move them in and out more quickly. They didn't actually say that, but I would imagine that would be another step.
Well, I think that's kind of the issue with a lot of this technology. You bring it on the shop floor, and then you got to figure out how best to keep things lean, moving. You know, you don't want to create a bottleneck. And oftentimes, you introduce something that's so efficient, you may just be pushing your bottleneck down to the next process.
There's always a new bottleneck. That is true, right? So it's a matter of keeping one step ahead of the next one. I guess. Yeah.
So, Josh, when you hear all this automation, and you made a point, in terms of the skilled welder shortage, it's probably more of a pay issue. True shortage in anything, you'll see prices rise.
Yeah.
The demand is great. I mean, it's not. It makes total sense.
We don't come close to meeting the parameters for what would be considered a wage gap or a skills gap.
Right. Do you think automation can help in these instances, or is it just kind of I don't want to call it a smoke screen, but does it cloud the reality that people should be paid more maybe for the welding function?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, the interesting thing is that robots are going to be coming for jobs at all levels. Like right now, we see the pushback against the minimum wage, and people are like, "Haha, the McDonald's workers, you're going to be replaced by robots because you won't take a lower wage." They're not thinking that in 10 years, robots are going to take their jobs too. Like architects, designers, whatever you want. I mean, it's coming. Then what do you do?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really know what it's going to do to the labor market. Maybe the maintenance of them is going to take just as many. I don't know.
Right.
I've thought about it a lot, and there's just not really a good answer in my head.
Do you think? Do you buy into the fact that maybe some of these automated, whether it be the cobots, to do like simple stuff, boring stuff, is actually probably a good strategy for a shop, in the sense that you want your skilled guys doing challenging things and high value activities?
I mean, it can be. I guess it depends on what level you're using it to. If it's a pretty mundane task and you're doing something over and over and over again, then I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. Not to mention the wear and tear on people, and you look at it from a cost on the other side. You might have to do maintenance on the robot, but you don't have to provide health care. You don't have to provide a pension plan. So in that case, a lot of these investments make more sense than hiring more people. My hope is that it would take out the need for $11 and $12 an hour welders, and maybe the demand will be there for, okay, we need guys to do these, pretty complex, go into these complex situations and figure out how to fabricate or manufacture whatever. And maybe that frees up more talented people to do those kinds of things. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the future is. It's a little sketchy out there right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. But to go back to your point, Eric, I went by ABB, and they have kind of the same user-friendly approach with programming an industrial robot that we've been kind of talking about with the cobots, in the sense that they design their HMI interface to reflect more of how a welder thinks instead of a programmer. So it's kind of like just a 5-step thing, and it's taking a scan. There's a scanner on the weld head, and the welder just takes a, for lack of a better word, a digital pointer, and like points in on the points in where the welding head would actually follow.
And start and
stop. Between those dimensions being processed and the scan, there's a rough pattern for it. And at that point, the welder can fine tune exactly like where does he want to drag it, does he want to kind of tilt it a little bit more. And it goes to the point that those things are becoming a little bit more user friendly, not just in a cobot thing, in the industrial welding thing. So that brings on a whole other debate. It's like, do I need a cobot when I can get an industrial robot that frankly probably could be a little bit more precise, have a little bit more reach, won't be as flexible in terms of moving in and out to do everything. So there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to this. Josh, from your standpoint, just walking around, anything catch your eye?
Well, was really stoked. My buddy Rush Kane got a signature series of welders from OTC. He's worked with them for the last few years and developed a series of TIG machines. It was just super cool to see somebody that I've seen grow in the industry the last few years to get that kind of recognition and have that kind of influence on a company and what they're doing. And my buddy Dave Bowman and I were talking. He's a weld scientist on Instagram. This is a good thing for all of us and then all the welders in the industry, because it's showing, a company can listen to the guys using the product,
right.
and what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of cater to what they need, what they want, what we need. Usually it's always been, we're just going to work with whatever we have and make it work.
Right.
Now you're seeing a major player come to a welder, just a dude who welds, and be like, hey, what do you want to see out of this machine?
Right.
So that I thought was really cool. It's kind of hard. This year's a weird year because for what I do, a lot of the major welding companies aren't here.
Right.
So, outside of that, Metabo had a smaller setup than usual. We just went over there and got some demos. They have a new weld shaver that just like eats the metal down to flush when you want to get rid of that. So that was cool. And then this morning, my buddy Adam Chennai gave a keynote address about how to build a company.
Yeah, he's with Mob Steel.
Yes, Mob Steel. Detroit Steel Wheel is his brand, his company too. He lives. Their shop is right around the corner from us in Detroit. And he's a brilliant dude, just absolutely smart as heck, and has a lot of good ideas on how to build a company based on the people and not the product necessarily.
Yeah.
It's based on taking care of the people, both your workforce and then your clientele.
Yeah.
And the money will be there. Right. And it's important. He believes, much like I do, that it's important we have a manufacturing base in the United States for a multitude of reasons. So this morning, listening to him give a presentation, which I'm sure is online, was really cool.
Yeah. So Amanda, I mean, you kind of rub elbows with people like Josh. Probably our closest affiliation with them. Excuse the term, influencer. But people who are actually promoting welding via social media and raising the awareness of issues related to welding. And there was quite a concerted effort to kind of pull these people together, and even though the welding companies might have been here, the welders were. So what was your observation of kind of seeing that in action?
Everybody was just bouncing off the wall. I think just really happy to be face to face again. Barbie the welder, who we talked to yesterday, she refers to the welding community as a family.
Right.
And Josh, you could probably speak to that better than I can. I'm more of an outsider looking in, but as such, I see how people relate to one another on social media, and just to see everybody together and the energy and just the support.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see. I know that everybody was super, surprised, I guess, at the amount of people that were here, and that just kind of drove that energy up.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of needs to be pointed out, that there's a lot of fear and speculation heading to this show, but the people that did show up, they're enjoying good turnout, and the people.
And they tended to stay for most of the week.
Yeah. We were talking last night at dinner. I actually saw couples. Singles don't, but the couples stand out in my mind because who doesn't want to take their lady or their guy to a trade show, fabricating trade show. So it's a good week, and people here are serious about business. We got a question from
we got a comment from our friend John King.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off what you guys were talking about, welding is the issue. Just reiterating the fact that manufacturing companies continue to lean on these welding kind of sell the product and sell the workforce. Digital marketing, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I think Kennedy on Flex, which you did yesterday, is a
Right.
perfect example of that, how digital marketing is super important for the industry.
Yeah, so our friend, another, I guess, influencer of his own, John King, down Texas way, commenting on how welders, they're using their platforms to kind of promote the industry. And Gareth Slager, our digital editor, had we had a chat yesterday who's commenting on Nick Kennedy from CNC Machine Tools, where that's a machine tool builder that has 2 full-time videographers on staff, kind of doing not only YouTube videos, but they've gotten even to TikTok now. I don't know if we're ready for that, but looking how we're looking up here, maybe we are. I'm not quite sure. So
Your TikTok material for sure.
Eric, so we were kind of talking about the general feel of the FABTECH show. What was it like in the tube area? Arguably, they're located in the Lakeside Center near the lake. They had the best probably setting for the show.
They had the best setting, that's for sure. That's actually the original McCormick place. So it's across Lakeshore Drive. So it's a little bit of a walk. Maybe that family isn't quite as tight as the Welders, but it's family.
Yeah.
We see a lot of the same faces, and I think a lot of people they enjoy coming back to FABTECH, and we're very happy to see a lot of booths over there. Nice to see the competitors again. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they do like to see their competitors. I think the feel over there was that we got very good turnout Monday morning. Monday afternoon was a little slow, and it was a little steadier throughout the week then. Tuesday and Wednesday were pretty good days over there. It is located by the Bistro and by the FABTECH Theater, so there's a lot going on over there. And I think that even though it is geographically separated just a little bit, it really kind of, that actually helps to ensure that the people who are touring those booths and walking up and down those aisles are there for a reason.
Yeah, so they had the stamping over there, they had tube and pipe.
Finishing.
Yeah. So, and actually, not every shop does painting and powder coating, but increasingly more kind of looking for some kind of value-added activity to entice customers to do business with them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.
It's definitely reasonably busy. It was definitely busy over there.
Yeah. Did anyone have a chance to sit in on any other keynotes or maybe conferences? I think sometimes as editors we don't have a chance as we're kind of running around. But I was wondering whether maybe that might have been the case.
I did see good attendance of those. I didn't actually stop in for any on my own.
Yeah.
But I would see 2/3 of the seats full.
Yeah, it's kind of an underrated part of the show as well. I mean, you get opportunity to seek out new technology, learn from others, actually see friends.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons people were happy to see FABTECH take place this year. So, anything else you hadn't hit upon?
I think one of the things that we're going to see with the ongoing trend in digitalization, it's probably already happening in tube pipe production. It's not just digitalizing processes, but digitalizing data that's derived from those processes. And it's going to start with the tube and pipe industry, if it hasn't already, for traceability.
Right.
So if you can digitize the manufacturing process, which we actually just saw a few minutes ago at Novar, that creates a data record. And as I mentioned, very important for the tube and pipe industry, but others as well. Anybody who's making things for automotive and whatnot. And I think that is going to be a trend that we're going to see take off in a big way, in a hurry.
I think you'll see that push down the supply chain too.
Yeah.
So, everybody will have the chance to collect data on their welding operations, for example, but at what point, how do they use that information to make things better and put it into effect? Because I think one of the things that small and medium-sized shops struggle with is just kind of all the wave of information that's available to them. What do they want to kind of focus on and tackle?
Yeah, sorting it, analyzing it, and making it useful. That's an important part of it. We had an article in the Tube and Pipe Journal recently on blockchain technology, and a lot of people associate blockchain with cryptocurrencies, and that is it's a technology that keeps cryptocurrency secure, but it's a database, so it's not exclusive to cryptocurrency. And so this article discussed the role that blockchain technology can have in storing these records. Because once those records are made and then added to, they can't be tampered with. Blockchain is that secure, so nobody owns it, but everybody in the supply chain can contribute to it. So those records enter in the cloud and anybody can access it.
Right.
So the technology's there, it's just a matter of...
with some software companies and the interest in doing more cloud-based software systems. It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fear the security element of it. They'd rather have somebody else take care of that. As a welder, Josh, all that talk, what does that mean to a welder? Industry 4.0,
I
blockchain.
think a lot of welders are really in tune with that stuff. I'm probably not one of them.
Really? So they're kind of aware then.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are really tech savvy.
Yeah.
I mean, like Rush was going through some of the technical stuff with his TIG machine yesterday, and I was
Right.
like, that's cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
And I've never been like a real on the technical side of things. I
Yeah.
just turn my stuff on and run it. But
Right.
the friends I have they're all probably like a generation or 2 generations below me.
Yeah.
They're all really up on automation, on the machines inside and out, what makes them tick, how they can modify them. Social media, obviously.
Right.
But even just the digital space as a whole, I think that they're a very aware group of people
Yeah.
when it comes to that kind of thing.
Well, I know Amanda has a chance to probably interview a lot more young people than maybe we do in terms of like running shops. But like, do you see that in the younger generation with welders? Is there kind of a lack of fear of technology?
Yeah, I mean, but that's how they grew up. They grew up with cell phones in hand, so it's just a part of life. And for us, we're all old enough to where we had to learn how to adopt that into our life.
Right.
But these younger kids, this has always been a part of their life.
It's like in which Batman is it with when Bane is there and
It's the third one.
Oh, yeah.
and he's like
Christopher Bale.
you really adapted to the dark. I was born
I was
in
born
it.
in it.
Yes, exactly.
No, see, the issue is why she know that. I know why
I
you
love
know
it.
that.
I love that
Great
Batman.
movie. You love that Batman?
Yeah, but that's it. I don't like any
She
other
hates Star-
superhero
she
stuff
hates
except
Star
Batman.
Wars. I don't get that.
Oh, I like all that stuff. I'm a
She
dork.
does. Oh, I know that, but once again, you're doing even impressions of Bane. I don't
Because it's
understand.
epic, man.
And we're wearing a mask, and he
Yeah.
wears a mask.
But there's
Like, it just
plenty
makes
of other
sense.
sci-fi stuff to enjoy and make fun of. and
It's
that's what
actually
you
a
do.
really easy voice to imitate.
It is too. It's
So,
fun.
yeah.
I'll get it that. And having said that, I've never heard that in the office before.
All right.
All
well,
right.
But that analogy is perfect to me. I mean, I know I came up with it, so of course I think it's great. But it's, kids are literally born with these things in their hands.
Yeah.
And,
No, I get it.
We had to adapt to these things.
So you go back, and I know you're kind of your point was a bit exaggerated, but maybe it's not. Just in terms of robots coming to do other people's jobs, and technology, I think is probably the broader issue. Is that it's going to affect the joke we have in our office. It's like we'll just have Adobe Editor write that story. Why don't you go home with it?
Seriously, somebody posted a story yesterday. It was a car review, and everyone's like, "Did a robot write this?"
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
bad,
Right.
but it was almost there.
Right.
Like the elements were there, but the article was so bad that
So-
it's like this must be AI generated.
Yeah.
I think it probably was.
So yeah. So you can go the technical way, or you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns hired the room full of monkeys to
Yes.
rewrite the best of times. He picks a piece of paper up out of the typewriter. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. No, get out of here! And the monkeys go wild.
Yes,
So,
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
there
that
you
scene.
go. So as we can boil down to it, it's been a great week at FABTECH. Technology is ultimately going to make you irrelevant, and
And
monkeys will
obsolete.
never replace us, at least in the near future.
Unless they're robot monkeys.
I don't know.
Yeah, they might.
What would you say? Would you look at a Planet of the Apes future or a Skynet future?
I think
What
it's
would you
somewhere in
put a bet
between. I think it's. I know it's a
What if they
cop
went?
out.
What if they join forces? That would be
I know it's a
horrible.
cop out, but I like to look at. People have this dystopian view of the future. I think that, I did a series of sculptures on these. Like I think that man and machine are going to have a wonderful future together. There was an article a few years ago in Wired magazine, and it was about. This was way long. This was like 20 years ago, and it was about a chess champion taking on a computer, and at that point he could beat the computer pretty handily. Then they brought in a guy who just had a rudimentary knowledge of chess to guide the computer as to where to go, and they whooped the chess champion. And it was this idea that man and machine can work together to be better than either one of them individually. So you've got these things that humans can provide to machines that machines can't provide for themselves. And I love this idea of a symbiotic relationship where we all become better. We have this shared history together, and it's I don't know. To me, it might be a little bit more ideal than what a lot of people like. All the
We need
dystopian
optimists in this
futures.
world. We do.
And I'm probably 100% wrong. And
There you
within
go.
2 years, I'll have a Mad Max shop building up armored vehicles.
So in the words of
There's
Ken
fuel
Brockman
crisis.
of The Simpsons, I welcome a robotic overlord.
Yes, exactly.
So, I think this has been a wonderful panel discussion. Highly informative, highly entertaining.
We're getting
Plain
standing
weird. Do we have
ovations.
another question?
Standing
comment?
ovations.
No more questions, but I'll say the Michael Batman very underrated.
Oh wow, Michael Keaton Batman
I
fan.
rewatched those recently. They're very good.
They are good.
Yes.
They are good.
Oh wow, there's a lot of Batman love in this room.
Ben Affleck Batman? No.
You know, like Ben
I'm
Affleck
here for
Batman.
Batfleck.
No.
I'm here for him.
I like him.
Really?
Yeah.
Big
boy.
and bold.
I think Val Kilmer was the one I really didn't like, and George
That was
Clooney
bad.
wasn't very good either.
Bat nipples.
Bat nipple, the bat codpiece.
All right,
On that note,
that's it. Yep, I think we've done our damage. Join us at 2 where we'll continue this conversation. I think we'll probably focus on Spider-Man at 2 o'clock as well as other observations from FABTECH. So enjoy your midday and come back. Thank you very much. Ciao.